Greetings all you sexy Magic the Gathering enthusiasts out there. Thank you for checking out my channel. I'm Jam Sam, and today, Phyrexia All Will Be One was just released. At least for me, by the time you guys are viewing this, it might be a day or two later. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, which is around the time that the new set came out here in Japan. I'm recording it this early because, well, I couldn't get time off from work, so it's the only time I had, and I won't be able to edit it, which is why you might be seeing this video coming out a day or two late. Either way, what I wanted to do today was introduce a few deck ideas, and hopefully I can have the viewers leave comments below letting me know which decks seems a little bit more interesting and something you want to see. That way I will know what decks I can make videos of first. So please leave comments below telling me what seems interesting. So I think that's enough talking for this intro. Let's get into the first deck. The first deck I want to introduce, which will also be the first video I'll probably make, is this Simic Poison deck. This deck kind of made a bit of a splash during the early access. It's a poison deck that revolves around Venerated Rot Priest, which is a 1 green, 1/2 Phyrexian Druid. Has Toxic 1. Whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, target opponent gets a poison counter. So when you combine this with Ivy Gleeful Spell Thief and have a bunch of protection spells, you protect your Venerated Rot Priest, Ivy copies that spell and protects itself. The poison counters just start stacking up, and before your opponent knows, they have 10 poison counters and lose the game. So you're looking at like a turn 3, turn 4 win if you have all the right cards in hand. I think this deck is going to be very troublesome, and maybe a chance that Venerated Rot Priest will get banned. Now, this might be different in best of 3, but at least in best of 1, you're going to see a lot of this. If you want to rank up quickly, I recommend using this deck before this card gets banned. If it gets banned, I don't know. It might not. Either way, let's move on to the next deck. Alright, here is a deck I'm calling Golgari Fun. I just kind of picked color combination and see what kind of deck I could make with it. And I went with Golgari. It's one of my favorite color schemes. And I have 2 different ideas here. I just realized, for some reason, when I imported this deck, it has 2 different Phyrexian Obliterators in here. Interesting, so I can get either one. Anyway, the idea revolves around using Phyrexian Obliterator and Archfiend of the Dross. So Phyrexian Obliterator is 4 black mana for a 5/5 trample Phyrexian horror. Whenever a source deals damage to Phyrexian Obliterator, the source's controller sacrifices that many permanents. This includes lands. We're pairing this up with a fight spell. We fight opponent's creature, and then our opponent will sacrifice a bunch of permanents depending on how much damage Phyrexian Obliterator took during that fight. And then Archfiend of the Dross is a 4 mana 6/6 flying demon, Phyrexian demon. Archfiend of the Dross enters the battlefield with 4 oil counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove an oil counter from Archfiend of the Dross. Then if it has no oil counters on it, you lose the game. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, its controller loses 2 life. So we attack in for a bunch, and let's say you can attack in 3 times, and you're about to lose your last oil counter, and you have no way of proliferating, which we threw in a few cards to proliferate in here, but if we can't proliferate, we just use Faithful Handoff and give the Archfiend of Dross to our opponent, and hopefully our opponent has no way of proliferating and they lose the game. That's the idea behind this deck. Alright, on to the next deck. Alright, so here's a deck I'm calling Rats Everywhere, because I just wanted to try out Carumonix the Rat King, which is a 1/2 black 3/3 Phyrexian rat with Toxic 1. Other rats you control have Toxic 1. When Carumonix enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of rat cards from among them and put the revealed cards into your hand, with the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. The idea is to fill up my deck with as many rats as I can, and so that when I play the Rat King, I can refill my hand and then attack in for a lot of toxic damage. So all creatures in here are rats. Even the regular Bank Buster has a rat riding it in the alternate art here. And I think on the original art as well. But it doesn't count as a rat, so unfortunately. But we have a Reckoner Raid, which is also a rat, but unfortunately you won't be able to draw this with your Rat King because it's considered an enchantment. And then we have some removal, but it's a mono black rat deck. The rats in standard right now aren't anything to gush about, so honestly this deck will probably not be very competitive, and if I do make a video with this deck, it might just be in the normal play queue instead of ranked. But you know, if you guys are interested in seeing a deck like this, and if you're interested in seeing it in the ranked ladder, just, you know, leave a comment below, and maybe I'll make a video with this rat deck in ranked and just lose a bunch of ranks. Alright, anyway, on to the next one. Alright, I'm over here now, just so you can see the cards better. But this is a mono red Hellraiser deck. It revolves around Capricious Hellraiser, which is 3 and 3 red, so 6 mana for a 4/4 flying Phyrexian dragon. This spell costs 3 less to cast if you have 9 or more cards in your graveyard. When Hellraiser enters the battlefield, exile 3 cards at random from your graveyard. Choose a non-creature, non-land card from among them and copy it. You may cast a copy without paying its mana cost. So we want to fill up our graveyard with non-creature and hopefully non-land. How are we doing that? Things with Elder Dragon, where is it? Fable of the Mirror Breaker, Bitter Reunion, and we're also putting Koth in here to make our land drops, because we only have 23 mountains as our lands, and you only need to +2 twice on Koth to ultimate, and then we can just start doing damage with mountains. But the whole idea is to play the Hellraiser, and since it's, as long as it's non-creature, so it'll hit Fable the Mirror Breaker. We have Glittering Stockpile in here, Urbrask's Forge. We also have All Will Be One in here, which is 3 and 2 red for enchantment. It says, whenever you put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, All Will Be One deals that much damage to target opponent, creature an opponent controls, or planeswalker an opponent controls. So every time Fable the Mirror Breaker gets a counter, when your planeswalker hits the battlefield, and then +2, like the first turn that Koth comes in, if you already have All Will Be One in play, that's 6 damage right there. And then we have 1 copy of Light Up the Night to maybe like finish off the opponent. That's the idea behind this deck. Alright, on to the next. So next, we have what I'm calling Elish Zur. It's Esper enchantments with Zur, except I'm adding Elish Norn to it. So a little less enchantments and more ETBs. So you have Urtai Resurrected and things like that. But, you know, Leyline Binding, Touch the Spirit Realm, they both, with Elish Norn out, will exile 2 targets instead of just 1. And then I added 1 copy of Atraxa Grand Unifier, because we are running a bunch of tri-lands to get the domain to make Leyline Binding cheaper. And for those of you who don't know, Atraxa Grand Unifier is Esper colors with green and another 3, so 7 mana for 7/7 Flying Vigilance Death Touch Lifelink. And when Atraxa Grand Unifier enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each card type, you may put a card of that type from among the revealed cards into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. So basically, you know, you want creatures, you want enchantments, you want artifacts, you want you know, instant sorceries, planeswalkers, which as of right now, I don't have all those in here. This deck is still very much in the works. Also, like Sarah Redeemer, I don't know how good this is. I've never seen this card being used, but it's a 5 mana 2/4 with flying, and whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, put 2 +1/+1 counters on that creature. I'm pretty sure with Elish Norn, that'll trigger twice, so you're putting 4 counters on all your creatures. So, you know, Zur comes in with 4 counters, Spirit Companion with 4 counters, things like that. Might be kind of fun. Not sure, but 5 mana for a 2/4 flyer is a lot. But yeah, I'll definitely have to tweak this deck and add in some removal. And finally, you know, this deck probably needs some kind of planeswalker. But I think it might be interesting, just kind of a Zur Elesh Norn weirdo combo there. I mean, these two don't combo with each other at all. I was just thinking, with Zur, you want enchantments to exile creatures, and then with Elesh Norn, you can double up that. Well, anyway, on to the next. And finally, I have Boros Vindicator. This deck revolves around Phyrexian Vindicator, which is 4 white mana, which kind of wants you to put it in a mono white deck, but I'm going to try it in this Boros deck. And it's basically a 5/5 flying. If damage would be dealt to Phyrexian Vindicator, prevent that damage. When damage is prevented this way, Phyrexian Vindicator deals that much damage to any other target. So the whole idea is play Vindicator, and then burn down the house. Attack for 5, burn down the house. You're doing 10 damage. Play, you know, Vindicator, Brotherhood's End. You're doing 8 damage together with a 5 from Vindicator and 3 from Brother's End. Basically, we want to keep sweeping the board and just leaving Phyrexian Vindicator out. Our other creatures, we have Annex Sentry, which will die if you burn down the house, and your opponent will get back whatever creature you exile with Annex Sentry. But I think using Annex Sentry to exile tokens or artifacts, but I don't know. When we start test playing this deck, we'll see. And then the other creature is Solfim, Mayhem Dominus, a 4 mana 5/4 that doubles all your non-combat damage. And you can pay 1 and 2 Phyrexian red mana, discard 2 cards, and then get an indestructible counter on here. So that if you have both of these creatures out, and then you burn down the house will do 10 damage. And then between these two attacking, that's another 10 damage. So you do 20 damage with these 3 cards right here. Fortunately, it's 4 mana, 4 mana, 5 mana, so it's not the most reliable combo, I would say. But that's the idea behind this deck. This deck still is in works. Not sure what other cards to put in here, so I'll definitely have to test play this a bunch. But yeah, that's all the decks that I've been working on, and now that the set is finally released, I'm able to start crafting and playing these decks. So please leave a comment below, let me know which ones you're interested in, and I'll start working on those decks first. Thank you for watching, and hope you all have fun with these new Phyrexian horrifying cards. See you next time.